You know, I comment on all kinds of matters. I am minarchist, minimal government, bordering on anarchy. I've said that many times on my videos. I think that if we're to have a functioning country, we have to have government that doesn't get too far into control. Well, law enforcement is one of the primary areas that anybody has any interaction with police officers or with the government. And if they are corrupt, it ruins everything dealing with government. Well, retired police officer Paul Mumford, he was also a reserve officer with the Tampa Police Department, just got convicted to over 100 years in prison. Why? Because 100 counts, okay, 111 years in prison, 100 counts of possession of child. Yeah, he had pictures of kids, a lot of them. He worked for the Tampa Police Department from 1986 to 2015. He retired as a sergeant, and then he returned shortly after as a reserve officer. He was working at the SAT when he got busted for this stuff. So I'm going to first get you some. I've got two clips here. I'm going to let you watch this. I'm going to quit flapping my jaws. I'm going to let you see these, and then I'll flap my jaws after the videos.
Howdy, y'all. This is Paul, the Redneck Thinker. What we have here is a channel to communicate. I want you folks to be thinking by the time you leave my videos. Why? Because I'm tired of people talking via what other people tell them to think. So, watch my video and enjoy the chance to think for yourself.
Paul Mumford faced a Tampa judge, although she couldn't really see him. She did, however, get plenty of FaceTime with his lawyer, who was vigorously defending his client.
They're charging with 100 counts. Yes. Right? That's abusive. That's vindictive.
Mumford, a retired Tampa police officer, faces 100 counts of child pornography following his arrest yesterday. After receiving a tip in 2021, police searched Mumford's home and seized his personal devices. Officers say they found dozens of child porn files. Despite that, his lawyer asked for a low bond, arguing the evidence against him is weak. But the judge disagreed.
But we're here on probable cause, and there's probable cause for what came before me. So it's not 3 or 4 counts.
It clearly says that they found some. I agree with that. But it doesn't say what devices they were found on.
But it also says that they found it on it says it found it on multiple devices, and that your client lied to the police and said that he didn't even have internet access.
After a fiery exchange between the two, the judge pointed out a nagging concern she had.
And I don't want to be vindictive because he's a former cop. It greatly concerns me that he might have had access to some of this because of this position as a police officer. But I'm going to treat him like I do everybody else that comes in here on these charges.
And with that, bond was set at $500,000. The former police officer never said a word. Gloria Gomez, Fox 13 News.
A former Tampa police officer will spend the rest of his life behind bars after he was handed down a lengthy prison sentence today. It comes after Paul Mumford was convicted earlier this year on 100 counts of possessing child pornography. Fox 13's Kylie Jones is joining us now in the newsroom with those details. Kylie?
Brianna, Paul Mumford was working as a reserve officer with the Tampa Police Department when more than 100 images of child porn were found on his devices. Today, his attorney pushed the judge to consider the harshness of the sentence, but prosecutors said this was all no accident. The tables turned for a former Tampa police officer as he was convicted of the types of crimes that he would once investigate. Earlier this year, Paul Mumford was found guilty of 100 counts of possession of child pornography. On Friday, he sat handcuffed in a Hillsborough County courtroom waiting to be sentenced.
There were at least 162 identified exploited children that were located in the images on his device.
It began with a tip in 2021 that led investigators to search Mumford's devices. Prosecutors said they found more than 100 images of child porn and numerous stories that Mumford appeared to have written about what prosecutors called his desires and interest in the child porn that was found on his devices.
It is one criminal act of pointing and clicking and downloading a series of files.
Mumford was a TPD officer from 1986 to 2015 when he retired as a sergeant. Shortly after, he rejoined the department as a reserve officer. The department confirmed that Mumford worked in the sex crimes unit from 2008 to 2009. On Friday, his attorney argued the sentencing guidelines are disproportionate and incredibly harsh for the conduct that he's convicted of.
These files were, whomever deleted them, were deleted in a 26-second period within the first 6 hours of the charging information.
But the state pointed to data that was shown during the trial that there were multiple access dates and modified dates recorded on the device.
There was no evidence that this was one-time click. There was no evidence that Mr. Mumford simply got onto Google, searched for, quote, child pornography, and then all of a sudden all of these images magically appeared on his devices.
Just before the judge sentenced Mumford to 111 years in prison, he shared some remarks of his own.
This was not just an accidental click on Google where these child pornography pictures showed up. One does not find child pornography accidentally.
And during his sentencing, Mumford showed no emotion and afterwards sat looking down at the ground. Brianna.
All right, Kylie Jones reporting for us from the newsroom. Thank you, Kylie.
There comes a point where we really do need to fix this. Seriously, you have all these folks that are conservative, that defend cops no matter what they do. No. I defend good cops. I do. I may not on my channel all the time, but there are good cops in this country, and they deserve to work in an environment where they do not have people like this working with them. They deserve to work in an environment where they have officers that have their back, that they know they can trust. You can't trust somebody like this. You can't trust somebody that's going to get frustrated and take out a regular person because they're having a bad day. None of that. Those are not good police officers. And this, you noticed, there's been a lot of people that have noticed there's been an increasing rise in these police being caught with this kind of filth. He didn't even deny. It was not denied that he had it. No. They were saying that it was just excessive charging. And that other ways of trying to excuse this filth. Well, Paul Mumford is probably not going to live to see 111 years in prison. He is most likely not even going to serve that much of the sentence. But at least something happened. Real justice happened in this case. And he's a chomo. He's going to go into prison and, well, former cop, chomo, yeah. You know what's up, folks. This guy's not going to like life. This has been Paul, the Redneck Thinker. Y'all have a good day now. Bye. So, folks, that's the story that I wanted to bring you on this video. And I just wanted to say thank you again for coming by. Hit like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff if you don't mind. Help me out. So, y'all have a good day now. Bye.